What's up, Silver Stackers? Thank you so much for being here. This is Silver Slayer, folks. I got a treat for you today. You're going to want to stick through this whole video because I got an article from the one, the only Ted Butler. Probably one of my top 2, maybe 3 silver experts out there. He understands the market inside and out, even going as far as the silver shortage, trying to go against the Green New Deal and the reality that's in between that. Every time Ted Butler writes something, I love it. He writes so good, straight to the point, brings good points to the table, and he understands what he's talking about. This article is titled Epic Silver Sell-Offs. It's going to be a good one, folks. If by the end of the video you think that this deserves a like at least, please like the video. And by the end of the video, if you think this channel is something that you would like to subscribe to see more content like this, alongside giveaways, unboxings, silver stacking strategies, then please subscribe as well. The link to this article will be in the description. So Ted starts off to say, I would certainly classify the current sell-off in silver as being epic, and I'm reminded of other past sell-offs as being historic in nature. I lived as a broker through perhaps the most epic silver sell-off of all, the price decline of early 1980 when the Hunt brothers' inspired run to $50 quickly collapsed as trading rules were changed, leading to Silver Thursday when all of Wall Street was rocked by fears of a cascading margin call, leading to widespread fears of default by leading brokerages. And who could forget the more recent collapse from the same near $50 price high in April of 2011, a sell-off that lasted effectively for close to a decade. I mean, wow. He's been through it all, folks. And, the Hunt brothers situation was absolutely insane. If you don't know the Hunt brothers story, how they cornered the market up to $50, got silver banned on the COMEX. I mean, basically collapsing it from $50 back down to $9, or I think even less than that, within like a 6-month time frame. Go check that video out. I did like a 3-part docuseries. But anyways, as memorable and historic as those silver sell-offs were, what comes to my mind is the comparison of the current sell-off with 2 other epic silver sell-offs. The one that occurred into the end of 2008, in which the price of silver fell from a high of $21 in March to under $9 by December, and the one that occurred in March 2020, when within a month prices fell from 18 to under 12. And I think a lot of people forget that, just about 2 years ago, a little more, silver was $11. So if you're looking at $18 silver and you think that's low, just remember silver was $11 in March of 2020. And then within a year later, it was up to $30, triple that. On an encouraging note to current investors suffering the pain of the free fall in silver and gold prices, I would point out that silver prices ran up 5-fold within little more than 3 years following the price lows in December 2008. And yeah, remember, silver went from 2008 to 2011, $50. 3 years, silver went up basically tenfold, and then rose by 2.5 times that within 6 months of 2020 price low. Based upon everything that I look at, I fully expect similar, if not greater, price performance ahead. So he's saying, time and time again, we've seen silver at drastically lower prices than they are today, but then all of a sudden, it drastically appreciates in value within a very short time frame. So if you're someone that's looking at this as a glass half empty situation, you might want to flip your perspective and say, you know what, this could actually be a situation like this happened time and time again, where silver's really low, and then within a year, maybe a couple of years, silver explodes and it's triple, quadruple, maybe even quintuple what the price is right now. And if history has any form of repeating itself, it's looking like that will probably happen, especially when you apply the other variables to the equation as well. So the reason I chose the epic silver sell-offs into the end of 2008 and in March 2020 was because of the JPMorgan connection. Having discovered that JPMorgan had replaced Bear Stearns as the big COMEX silver and gold short seller following the release of the August 2008 Bank Participation Report and correspondence from the CFTC. It was easy to trace JPMorgan's role in the 2008 epic price decline. Namely, it had whittled down a 40,000 contract, 200 million ounces, COMEX short position in March 2008 to 20,000 contracts, only 100 million ounces by December. In the March 2020 silver sell-off, JP Morgan completely eliminated its 20,000 contract short position, never to return to the short side of the COMEX gold and silver to this day. When JP Morgan bought back and eliminated its COMEX silver, gold, and short positions in the 2020 epic silver price sell-off, it had effectively double-crossed the other large COMEX commercial short sellers and set those other commercials up for what turned out to be large losses for the first time ever. Losses that exceeded $15 billion at the price highs of early March this year. As I recently wrote, the default in the LME nickel market due to the large concentrated short sellers served as a wake-up call for large COMEX gold and silver short sellers, and they put into practice a plan to undo large concentrated short positions once and for all time, I believe. The only way for large concentrated short sellers in COMEX, silver and gold, and related markets to buy back and close out their short positions was to orchestrate a sell-off that would induce selling and short selling from the non-commercial traders, largely the managed money traders. The sell-off had to be epic in nature to get sufficient amount of managed money selling required to permit the concentrated commercial short sellers to buy back the requisite number of short contracts. As any silver and gold investor would testify, the depth and pain of the current sell-off would certainly qualify for being termed epic. So with the benefit of hindsight, the quality that enables everyone to be all-knowing, I can see how the current epic sell-off was the perfect and only solution to a problem that has plagued silver for more than 4 decades, namely the existence of a concentrated short position objectively measuring more extreme than in any other commodity. How else could the big shorts cover their manipulative short positions except on an epic price decline? If they tried to buy back their concentrated short positions on higher prices, as they typically occur in free markets, that would mark the first time that would occur in COMEX gold and silver. Prices would have soared to levels hard to contemplate because they would be so dramatic. Short covering on higher prices would have not only been catastrophic for the big concentrated shorts, it would also been a disaster for the regulators. And that's because the CFTC, Justice Department, and CME Group have bent over backwards in trying not to make the connection between the concentrated short position in COMEX silver and the ongoing manipulation, which is pretty crazy because I think it's blatantly obvious when you look at it, logically. A price explosion powered by concentrated short covering would have openly revealed to all the incompetence and malfeasance of the regulators. It was much better for all, except innocent investors and mining companies. Bam. For the collusive COMEX commercials to have bought back short positions on an orchestrated price smash than for the concentrated short position to be resolved on the free market short covering of higher prices. See, I know there's a lot of big words in here. I know there's a lot of, points that might not be clear to see for the average silver stacker, but try not to look at it that way. Try to look at it more so as him just explaining in great detail of what's really going on behind the scenes, but also kind of just look at the approach and the narrative, what he's pushing moving forwards in silver and how this all could change in the markets very dramatically. I mean, you got to remember, he did mention that with prices this low, an epic silver sell-off, he's also referring to or comparing to, as in 2008 to 2011, the credit financial crisis, recession/depression. 3 years later, leads to $50 silver. Also remember, during that time, there's about $1 billion stimulus getting thrown out. Nowadays, very similar situation, right? Credit financial crisis in 2020. Then you have $1 trillion stimulus. 3 years later would be what, $50 silver? As he says, it could be even greater. We've seen this time and time again where silver's at an extremely low price and then follows tenfold afterwards. And almost every time, if you were to look at a chart, right, he mentioned even back in 1980, right, went from like $9 to $50, 2011 or 2008, 2011, right, $9 to $50. Now we see $11 in March 2020 to what? I mean, if you look at the patterns, it would make more sense. And he's kind of just explaining the details behind the scenes on the COMEX and all this of why this really could happen. So I'm not going to go too much into all of this because I know a lot of us are just physical stackers, really don't look into the COMEX, but I do like to share this stuff, mainly just to give context of what's actually happening. But I'm sure there are some of you that do understand all of this. I don't understand it all completely myself. I mean, I get what he's saying, but I'm not going to try to talk about something that I don't know, right? I'll read it, but I'm not going to try to break it down to you and say, this is what he means when he's talking about this or X, Y, Z. But it is important to read, and I do think that as people learn about this stuff and do, even go into the COMEX and short selling and all these things that are happening with JPMorgan, it is also important to learn. I definitely think it's important to learn and understand this stuff, even if you are just a physical silver stacker. So anyways, he goes on to say, should silver and gold prices explode soon, as I expect due to the refusal of the former big commercial concentrated shorts to aggressively add back new short positions on the next rally? Like, for example, that sentence right there. He said he thinks silver and gold will explode soon. And then he explains the reasoning. So if you're someone that doesn't want to look into all of what he means, you won't even understand why he says that, which is important. I could say $100 silver all day, but if I don't explain why, then I'm not saying much. So you got to understand the whys. You got to understand even the things that you don't invest into or that you don't that it doesn't particularly have to do with you, and as an investor, knowledge is power. That's very important. Even understanding cryptocurrency, even if you don't invest in the crypto, you gotta learn these things. You gotta learn all angles of the game, because all of these things do affect your investment in particular, and that's why you gotta learn this stuff. So he goes on to say the reason why he thinks gold and silver will explode soon. It would seem impossible for the regulators to move against the former big shorts. There are certainly no legitimate regulatory grounds for the CFTC to order former big concentrated commercial shorts to extend the ongoing manipulation by reshorting the next rally. That would be ridiculous. And then he goes on to say that's what makes it ideal, not only for the big former concentrated shorts to stand aside for the next rally, but for regulators as well. So he ends it up by saying, while it's clear to me that the level of concentrated short covering to this point has been unprecedented and as such seems to be over, we will only know for sure after prices rise and the big former shorts don't reshort, not before. I'm confident in silver and gold bought at current prices will be much higher in the not too distant future. But I also know the power of the collusive COMEX commercial crooks, as well as the willingness of the regulators to look the other way. All I can say for sure is to avoid margin if there exists the possibility of losing position should prices fall even more. Now, there's a lot that even just this last paragraph has to say. One, silver definitely could rise pretty fast very soon. But two, you also got to remember there's a lot of crooks. There's a lot of corrupt stuff happening behind the scenes, as he mentions, and you can't expect silver to do what it's supposed to, right? What it looks like it should do on pen and paper compared to what's actually going on when you have evil, manipulative banks behind the scenes, especially people, turning a blind eye or looking the other way even though they know it's happening. That's the scary part. I just covered an article probably a week ago, where JPMorgan has more legal problems going up, as some of their employees are facing, 3 of their employees actually, to be exact, are getting sent to prison for manipulating the price of silver, and a fourth one even for racketeering. So, so this stuff does go on. It's not a theory. It's not a conspiracy. It goes on. It dates back decades, and we all know that silver is manipulated to some degree. But I did wish you would have mentioned this in the article as well, is that, yes, this stuff is happening now, but when we look forwards over the next decade or so, this type of manipulation can't exist for much longer. I guess he does make that. I guess he does say that at one. Where does he say that? Uh, I'm pretty sure he does mention that pretty soon that there's a possibility that this type of manipulation cannot keep. Let me see. I don't know. I thought he said it somewhere. But yeah. Anyways, I'm trying to find it now. Anyways, yeah. I still think at the end of the day, whether you're buying it right now, whether you're buying it at $10, whether you're buying it at $30, for me, I just buy silver. I mean, I'm not someone who's like, oh, it's 18. Let's see what the price is. I'm not someone that goes, oh, silver is $18.87. I'm going to wait until it drops to $18.20 before I buy. If I'm going to buy silver, I just buy it. I don't know. Let me know if you do that same thing. Are you someone who's like, it looks like it's still going to go down, so I'm going to hold off for a couple weeks and then I'll try to enter it? No, that's not me. Whether I buy right now or I buy in a couple weeks or I buy in a couple months, I just buy silver when I want to. That's just me. I'm not one of the coupon people. I'm not going to drive 20 miles away to get a gallon of gas that's a couple pennies off. Yeah, I don't know. That's just me. Do you also think the same way? Or are you someone that does try to take this very literal and get the lowest dollar per ounce average for your stack? That's just not me. When I want to buy silver, I'm going to buy it. I don't even really look at the price, to be honest. See, I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you thought this video was educational, informational, at least entertaining, make sure to like button. If you're still watching the video, which I hope you are, then please subscribe if you think that my content is worthy of a subscription. And please like the video if you think it's worthy of a like. I'm not going to beg you to like and subscribe right in the beginning because you don't even know if you're going to like the video yet. You don't even know if you want to subscribe to my channel, so why would I beg you to do so? So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Go check out one of the 2 videos that is showing on the screen right now if you want to still be kept up to date and learn some more crazy stuff that's been happening lately. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.